Nigeria hopes to begin the operation of a new national air carrier in the first quarter of 2022. This recent announcement comes 3 years after a botched appearance of Nigeria Air at the Farnborough Air Show in the United Kingdom in 2018. Does Nigeria need a new national carrier 17 years after the former national carrier Nigeria Airways was winded down? What are the seeming advantages of a national carrier? These and many more questions are what we seek answers to on the program. Plus, Nigeria exits the United Kingdom red list over the Omicron variant of the COVID-19 virus. A warm welcome to the program. I'm Bukola Jo Oketumbi. Nigeria is arguably the biggest aviation market in Africa, with a population of about 200 million people, and is heavily involved in transatlantic trade in every economic sphere. Before now, Nigeria had a national carrier operated by Nigeria Airways Limited. It was officially liquidated in 2004 after 46 years of existence. A national carrier is said to be a country's national airline which is locally registered under a given statute and enjoys preferential rights or privileges accorded by the government for international operations. The existence of a national carrier in any country is often necessitated by the need to reciprocate air traffic in a situation where there are no capable local carriers to represent the country in other climes and to create employment opportunities. When Nigeria Airways left the scene in 2004, the federal government then established Virgin Nigeria in partnership with Richard Branson's Virgin Atlantic. The airline went through another ownership before folding up in 2012. Following several failed attempts by successive federal governments of Nigeria to float or revive the now moribund national carrier, the Minister of Aviation, Senator Hadi Sirika, since the commencement of President Buhari's administration, had tinkered with the idea of a new national carrier and launched a logo for the carrier at the 2018 Farnborough Air Show in London. At that time, the new airline would require between $150 million and $300 million as share capital. Shortly after the London show, everything about the proposed airline and the fanfare that accompanied it fizzled away. But now, the Minister of Aviation says April 2022 for the national carrier is now a reality.
This is the 6th time that the memorandum appeared before Council, and 6th time got lucky to be passed by Council. The very quick, maybe perhaps structure of the proposed airline, government will be owning not more than 5%. Then 46% will be owned by Nigerian entrepreneurs, 46%. So if you add that, it's 51%. So 51% majority shareholding by Nigerians. And then 49% will be held by strategic equity partner or partners. If started, and within the first few years, will generate about 70,000 jobs. This airline would pick up and start, by God's grace, on or before April 2022.
With the announcement comes controversy as some aviation experts question some of the plans around ownership and other operational issues.
By now, someone who is serious about setting up an airline should have an office. If they don't have an office yet, it means that the operational readiness program that they're supposed to have in place prior to opening up fully, though they have not been able to take care of that. That is not in place, as it were. Now, if they do not have an office, it means that they do not have staff being prepared in readiness for the April date. My contention here is one. If you say that you want to start an airline, a national carrier now, what is the percentage of ownership and control? If it is going to be driven by government, just as we have been told. It then means that government is the one driving the entire thing. Government has given a name to a program that is going to be owned by private sector.
Looking at what COVID has cost and looking at what has happened to flights and schedules, why the domestic market has picked up, the regional is struggling and international is struggling. Now, we cannot come up with a national carrier now on the basis of only international flight. The airline would run into troubles, and that will affect us. What we can do is we already have airlines in place. We have airlines coming in. We've already had 2 coming in. One is ready, that's Nigerian Eagle, but its AOC was suspended by the same government. We don't even know the reason why they suspended that the AOC after meeting all the conditions of collecting the AOC certification. So, and we have so many airlines coming on board. It's from these airlines we expect government to look at where they can partner and make these airlines vibrant and strong.
Nigerian travelers also share their opinion.
Before it was their staff that killed that airline. When the staff will pay 4 naira, 2 naira for flights. I just pray that they will know what they are doing. They will put people that know what they are doing on the management board to run this thing very well.
To have an airline, airways that we call our own as Nigeria, to be wonderful if they are coming on board, but they should do their homework very well before coming on board to be sure that we don't get disappointed again.
Away from the national carriers to the issue of NG Eagle, an airline which Amkong intends to float from the ashes of Arik Air. Just a month ago, unions in Arik held a rally supporting Amkong's divestment policy. While the airline is ready to roll, it has no air operating certificate, one that has become a subject of controversy between the National Assembly and the Ministry of Aviation. For a representative of the union, the Ministry of Aviation may be the reason NG Eagle will not have its AOC.
Information available to NUATE, however, suggests that the issue of indebtedness of Arik Air to FAN and the NCA is only a smoke screen. It is understood that the real issue is the politics of a new national carrier. In particular, NUATE hereby calls on the Secretary to the Government of the Federation and the Chief of Staff to the President to urgently intervene in these matters and facilitate an immediate ceasefire and chart a path to progress on these sensitive issues.
While the battle for the soul of NG Eagle remains in the balance, Amkong believes it's taking the best exit. On our interview segment, a former senior special assistant on aviation to chief president and currently the chief executive officer of Active Air, Captain Shoei Yao, is our guest. It begins by addressing the ownership of Arik and Aero by the Asset Management Corporation of Nigeria.
Arik, Amkong came in as an interventionist, like you said. They are there to recover government money that was given to them. And then along the line, they found one of the ways maybe they can do it is let these people fly so that they can earn something to lower or to lessen the amount of debts owned by these companies. So they are a child of necessity. They are not created from day one to be a national carrier or to be a carrier or to be doing what a national carrier should do. But they found that maybe let's give them a chance. If they fly, we get some money, and then from there we move forward. So I think Amkong is not supposed to midwife a national carrier. I don't think that is I'm not in government, but I don't think that is the intention of government. But the minister and the Ministry of Aviation, from day one, they made it clear they're going to have a national carrier that will compete with any national carrier in the world. Look at Ethiopian. Ethiopian Airlines is a national carrier. It's as good as any airline in the world. And by the time we put people, we do the thing that is right, which we can do, because there is nothing a Nigerian cannot do if he wants to do it. We can get it done. And you and I will beat our chest and say, that is our carrier. That is what the minister is doing now. That is what the government is doing now differently. Government didn't say we are going to run the national carrier. It is going to be run as a business. If I'm right, I read the interview of the Honorable Minister. And government is just giving or taking just 5%. It's a kind of, should I call it a seed money, or it's a kind of confidence building maneuver or some sovereign, so that the outsiders coming in and people like you, me, and other Nigerians will have the confidence in buying into that airline. Because if you know government is there, you know that your money is safe, and you know that it's something very serious. Again, I think for the time it takes, you can see how long the process is. It means they have done their homework, or they're doing their homework, to identify a real experienced partner that we shall partner with, so that Nigeria, and indeed Nigerians, will have an airline that they will be proud of. I think at the right time, like they have come now to give you a date, they will come out and tell you who they are. From what I read last week, they're already considering some 3 companies that have bid it, and they're going through due process. And I'm sure with the right due process and due diligence, we are going to have the right people. We cannot make you cannot make that kind of mistake twice. We have made that attempt about 3 times. I'm sure they will get the right partners, people with expertise, people with know-how, people with the right equipment. And indeed, for whatever you want in the aviation industry, you have the local force that you can get, be it pilots, engineers, operators, dispatchers, people who really know what to do and make it work. So there will be a lot of job opportunities for Nigerians, which people don't seem to understand, but there is going to be. I always support find a way that we must find a way of strengthening our local carriers. That is what we call, so that they too will go out as what is called flag carrier. Like in Nigeria, British Airways comes, Virgin Atlantic comes. Those are flag carriers. The Virgin Atlantic is a flag carrier. So you can find a way of helping them, make life easy for them, possibly give them some tax holidays, do some few things that will help them, so that they too, they continue to grow. The market is more than enough. Remember our population. We are a country of over 200 million people, and Nigerians travel a lot. Just take a trip from here, go to international airport, and see the number of Nigerians that are always going out. That will tell you that you can have more than a national carrier plus 2 or 3 flag carriers that will serve this country. Yes, the flag carriers should be supported, should be assisted, then they can complement.
Teen pilot Zara Rutherford has landed in Seoul from Russia, the first Asia stop on her attempt to become the youngest woman to fly around the world solo. In August, the 19-year-old British-Belgian departed from Kortrijk-Wevelgem Airport in western Belgium on her 51,000-kilometer journey, which is to span 5 continents and 52 countries, including the United States, Greenland, Russia, and Colombia. The teen pilot says the experience has been challenging.
It has been challenging. So I was stuck in Alaska because of visa and weather issues for a month. I was stuck in Russia for a month because of visa and weather issues. And I mean, I was hoping to be home before Christmas, but I don't think that's going to happen anymore. But I mean, it's an adventure, so.
With enhanced COVID-related travel restrictions, Rutherford says she has sometimes not been allowed to see local places in some countries.
Although I'm not always allowed to go into the cities and walk around and check out the museums or restaurants, I can always see everything from the air, and it's pretty incredible.
Rutherford is seeking the title held by Shaista Ways, who became the youngest woman to fly solo around the world at the age of 30 in 2017. Born to 2 pilots, Rutherford will start university next year with a dream of becoming an astronaut.
When we return after the break, Newsflash is next. Do join us again.
The house today that
Britain's Health Minister Sajid Javid says he would never support mandatory COVID-19 vaccination in the country as he sought to persuade hesitant lawmakers that applying the requirement to health workers was as far as he would go. Ahead of the vote, Javid told Parliament Britain will remove all 11 countries from its COVID-19 travel red list because there's now community transmission of Omicron. The 11 countries which will be removed from the list are Angola, Botswana, Eswatini, Nigeria, and 7 others. France is contemplating tightening controls for travelers coming from Britain, where the new, more contagious Omicron coronavirus variant seems to be rapidly spreading. Regarding Britain, the current rule is to show a negative test less than 48 hours old in order to enter France. But we are always looking at means to tighten the framework. We're currently working on that, and we should, I think, come to a conclusion in the coming days. Attal says France, currently engulfed in a fifth wave of COVID fueled mainly by the Delta variant, presently had 133 confirmed cases of the Omicron variant, first detected in South Africa, Botswana and Hong Kong in late November. Despite the threats of this variant, he says there were no plans at this stage to take new restrictive measures to contain the disease, adding that accelerating the COVID vaccine booster jab campaign was a key part of the French government's strategy. Australia's Queensland state has opened its domestic borders to all vaccinated people on December the 13th for the first time in nearly 5 months, as Australians gear up for quarantine-free travel across most of the country during the busy Christmas period. Queensland, Australia's third most populous state, shut its border to New South Wales in July 2021 and then later to people coming from Victoria to protect against Delta outbreak that rocked the country's east for several months.
It's going to be exciting walking on the beach.
Qantas said it would fly nearly 10,000 passengers to and from Queensland in about 100 flights, with most fully booked. The easing of border restrictions comes just days before school summer holidays begin and will be a boost for the state's lucrative tourism sector, which has been badly hit by the internal border curbs. Finland has chosen U.S. defense giant Lockheed Martin's F-35 fighters to replace aging FA-18 combat jets and plans to order 64 planes with weapon systems. Lockheed Martin competed for the deal with Sweden's Saab, U.S. rival Boeing. France, the Assault, and Britain's BAE Systems. The procurement is worth estimated 8.378 billion euros. That's about $9.44 billion.
This procurement will have a strong impact on the Defence Force's operational capability. It will define the Finnish Air Force's combat capability into the 2060s. It was important to select a system with the best possible capabilities, including supporting elements and development capacity over the entire life cycle. F-35 passed the Finnish requirements regarding security of supply, industrial participation and costs. In the military capability evaluation, the F-35 provided best overall military capability to strengthen our defense system.
Military plane makers have been vying for the deal since late 2015, when the Finnish Defense Ministry began the search for a new jet to replace Finland's old Hornet fighter, bought in 1992 from McDonnell Douglas, now part of Boeing. Finland is the 14th nation to opt for the F-35. In 2014, Finland and Sweden signed an agreement to train together and allow NATO assistance in crisis situations.
Bahrain's Gulf Air has made its first direct commercial flight to Tel Aviv as the country's flag carrier launched direct flights for the first time with Israel. Gulf Air said that its newest airline would initially operate 2 flights a week, adding that the line to Tel Aviv comes as part of the political, commercial and civil aviation agreement signed with Israel. Lapid landed at Bahrain's International Airport in an Israeli plane with an olive branch painted on its nose. From Bahrain to China, where commercial airplane makers touted strong post-pandemic prospects for the Chinese aviation market as the country's largest air show closed with an increasing share of the spoils expected to go to domestic manufacturers. Airbus China said on the show's sideline that the manufacturer was still in talks with China about certification, which along with support services was the key to customer confidence in placing orders.
We have
already started the certification process for this aircraft in China. Our engine manufacturer and us have been working together with the Civil Aviation Authority of China and working closely to obtain a test certificate for this aircraft. I also want to tell you that in numerous communications with many airlines, they have shown strong interest in this aircraft.
The normally biennial air show China in the southern city of Zhuhai delayed by a year because of COVID-19. This allowed Beijing to parade its green aviation prowess. China is a key hunting ground for deals for foreign aviation firms.
Honestly, I don't think it had a big impact. I mean, politically, there have been some difficulties over the last few years, but I think generally speaking, business people are very practical and pragmatic, and they try to kind of like make the decisions that make the most sense for them, right? That being said, as you know, just in the last few days, there's been some positive developments between Canada and China, and I think that actually certainly allows for a stronger foundation going forward as well, and it makes a more positive atmosphere going forward. And I hope that we can build on those positive developments in order to kind of do even more business in ways that benefit both countries.
Air France-KLM has unveiled its latest aircraft as the chief executive officer said the company is looking at raising fresh funds just after completing a share issue earlier this year, bolstered by a positive trend in bookings since the United States announced a reopening to Europeans.
Vraiment des bonnes nouvelles. L'annonce des États-Unis, ça fait...
Good news for us. It was first planned for July, so it took several months longer than expected. But this is really good news. We saw strong demand during the summer on leisure travel in Europe. Our offer was even higher than 2019 for some countries around the Mediterranean, but still we had only 65% of our offer for Q3, and it will be similar for Q4. So it is still complicated for us as it is for other actors in the industry.
Okay.
The North Atlantic is the most lucrative market for Europe's largest long-haul carriers, but business travel, which makes up the lion's share of profits, has been hit hard by the crisis. Air France-KLM expects to benefit from pent-up demand from large corporate customers and others eager to travel to renew business contact with customers, but it's too early to say how far this will result in a sustained recovery.
Plusieurs façons de ne pas arriver à nos enjeux ou nos ambitions collectives.
There are several ways not to get to where our common ambition leads to, and there's a good way to do it. Firstly, to have a level playing field. I was just talking about sustainable flying. If we go towards a mandate for multinational companies, and that's just what we need in the long run, with the same rules for everyone, and that we decarbonize very quickly, there's merit and virtue in putting all companies, industries, all actors of the sector on the same footing, and therefore see not what we've seen in the past years with social and fiscal dumping, something which is often detrimental to France. So this is where we will be politically vigilant.
The carrier is less exposed than rivals British Airways and Lufthansa to trends in corporate travel because up to half of its premium cabins had been filled with people traveling for leisure even before the pandemic. Aviation This Week winds down here. See you next time, God willing. I'm Bukola Joe Oketumbi.